What's up everybody, it's Conger Live. We're back again with another DC Worlds Collide video. In today's video, we're going to be going over some team building guide. Now, before we get into this, I do want to disclaim that I am part of the content creator program. I also want to let you guys know that the things I talk about in this video are not the say-all, end-all, be-all of how to build teams. A lot of factors come into play. So with that, let's get into it. If you're new to the channel, need you kick the like button, subscribe for more content. Let's go. You are now watching Conger Live, part of the DC Worlds Collide content creator program. Okay, so first up is a screenshot from my clan leader, guild leader. A lot of screenshots are going to be coming from him because he is a pay player. He's got every toon unlocked, and so he's definitely been able to help me out with some screenshots here. This is the starter elite build. What he says is that you want to use a lot of defense, focusing your strength in Batman. And although he's pretty correct with this, the only difference for me is that when I played, I used Mr. Freeze for a while, but then I switched to using Phantom Stranger, who he has in the back, up front with Mr. Freeze, and not Captain Cold, sorry. Even though you get Captain Cold early, he's okay, but I think Phantom Stranger is better. And I liked using Batgirl because she has AoE. Of course, depending on what you get for your elites, is going to, or not your elites, but your epics, is going to depend on how you evolve your gameplay. He was able to get Red Hood and Nightwing fairly early. I don't have either of these tunes to date. I still don't have these two tunes. So I kept using Mr. Freeze and Phantom Stranger for quite some time. Just based on what I had available. I actually didn't get any of the good tanks for a long time. Even now, most of the things missing from my roster are tanks. So I was always looking for some AoE. I was lucky enough to get Green Arrow early, and even if you're not a spender, if you spend just $1, you can get Green Arrow, and he's pretty clutch when it comes to getting a lot of damage output, especially early on. Then the next thing is when you either start spending or you're able to get your new player legendary. Now, Call Out chose Superman, but he was lucky to get Wonder Woman and Lex from draws that he paid for. I chose Wonder Woman. I think that Wonder Woman is the main recommendation here, and you can earn your way to unlocking Lex. I say that that's a main priority. So for free-to-play or light spending players, Wonder Woman and Lex should be the two legendaries that you get and focus on as soon as possible, while then developing the rest of your roster around that. So from Torpin, who hangs out in our Discord, but he's not in our guild, he says that this is the meta build, with the 5th slot being variable depending on what you have and what you're facing against and how to kind of tweak it. So having Lex, Nightwing, Wonder Woman, and was it Killer Frost or Zatanna? I think that's the main 5. I'm not actually looking at the screenshot at the moment, so but I'll put it up on the screen for you guys. So depending on what you have is going to really affect your gameplay. Now, like I said, I still don't have Nightwing, so I'm using Wonder Woman up front. This is my main 5 here, and I'm in the process of phasing out Raven for Zatanna. In fact, I could probably put Zatanna in now. Because I just got her to 1 red star. So this is my main 5. Some people say Wonder Woman shouldn't be up front, but she's the heaviest, highest hit points of these that I have. So it makes sense for me to have her up front. Okay, so this is what I use in Arena, and this is what I use in the campaign for most of it. Okay, so that's kind of the main philosophy and stuff for your main game play. Now there are some other things to consider. In Convergence Crisis, we have different modes where you have a restriction of what characters to use. So here is an all-villain team that is proposed by Callout. Now, for me to use all villains, I don't think I can filter by all villains. For me to use all villains, I don't have Penguin, I don't have Deathstroke. So I'm surprised he's not using Lex in his all villains team. So I use Lex. I definitely use Killer Frost and Two-Face. The other villains I use, I think Grodd's a decent tank. You can use him. You're always going to have to use kind of what is available to you. I definitely like to use Killer Frost's Resonance, so I'm making sure that I have some damage dealers. I think I'm actually using Scarecrow, even though he's an elite, because he's a damager, or Mirror Master. I kind of switch between those two. If I need to get to the back line, I'm using Mirror Master. If I like to give them a little bit of a slow down and lowering their hit points, I'll use Scarecrow for that poison right off the bat. It's definitely not the best way to go, but that's kind of how I'm doing it, because I don't have some of the characters available as a free-to-play player. When it comes to all heroes, this is also kind of like a speed crit team. This is what Callout recommends. Flash, Zatanna, Wonder Woman, Red Hood, and Green Arrow. Now, he also has Superman, so I'm actually kind of surprised he doesn't have Superman up front instead of Red Hood, but maybe this is more effective because it's speed and crit, right? And then I think he's using Red Hood's Resonance, which is why, like I said, I don't have Red Hood, but from what I understand, his Resonance is very, very useful for either speed or crit. I think it has to do with turn meter. So if you have that available, not a bad way to go. Of course, I don't have Flash or Red Hood, so my all heroes team, I'm using Hal, because I did unlock Hal, and then I think I'm using Raven, because she revives. Maybe I'm swapping out Raven, Zatanna, I'm switching between those, and I'm using Jessica, because she helps me activate the Resonance for Green Arrow. Now that can kind of lead me into a shield team. The shield team would be with Lex and Green Arrow, Jessica, Hal, and then Callout says up front use Penguin because he helps with defense. Of course, I don't have Penguin. Another player would recommend maybe Nightwing, so you can get a stun in there. I don't have Nightwing either. So for me, I think even with like a shield team, I think up front I'm using Phantom Stranger because he does give us some extra shields. And then you can always tweak things, of course, depending on what you have available and what you need. Maybe you need a little more damage output. You can throw Killer Frost in there, or maybe you need some more healing. You can throw Kid Flash in there. So, this is just some recommendations, guides, jumping off points. It's not the say-all, end-all, like I said. Then the other things are the all-color teams, right? So the all-red team, if you have these things available to you, it's like a mini burn team. Of course, for me, I don't have Superman available or Penguin. So, and also my Superboy is not at a high enough level to even use his Resonance, although the Superboy Resonance is ideal, I think, if you can do like a mini burn team. So if you don't have Superman, I think that means you got to use Starfire for all red, and I think that would work. Two-Face definitely a great way to go. You can do a Two-Face resonance, but that means you have to use Killer Croc for the bleed, which isn't ideal. So I'm actually using Clayface as one of my tanks in my all-red team, and then I'm also using Hal because he does some decent damage, but you know, Hal isn't as great without that shield support from the other Green Lantern and from Lex. So that's the all-red team. The all-blue team, really important that you have Lex, Killer Frost, and Constantine. They're basically a must. Zatanna is also basically a must. Then we have an option where you can put Grodd up front, or you can use Sinestro if you have him in the back. These are the two different options that Callout suggested to me. I don't have Sinestro, so my team looks like this one with Grodd. I'm pretty sure this is what I do for my blue team. Depending on how things go, I will put Raven in, you know, for the revive. Sometimes that helps out. But that's blue. And then green is also really tough for me personally. Both the recommendations from Callout include legendaries that I don't have, either Flash or Deathstroke. And it also uses the front line of Nightwing and Red Hood, which I don't have either of those. So my all green team is really bad. I'm actually using elite tanks because I have like no options with all green. So you guys take all this with a grain of salt, right? Use what you can. And the other thing is that, you know, these teams we're considering the reason why we'd use these teams is either in like the Convergence Crisis mode or in maybe unrestricted arena, especially like with the colored teams. In Convergence Crisis, you can play on manual, and you can possibly increase your efficiency playing on manual. And of course, some of these screenshots had some collection items that are part of the effectiveness of the team. But as a free-to-play player myself, I only have the basic collection items. I don't even have the Batmobile, which some people might have as free-to-play because of being on a newer server. But I don't have that. It was not available to the server that I was on because I joined before they created that banner, and they didn't add it to our server. So that's all I got for some team building tips. I'm going to go back to this screenshot of the meta team. Basically, pick Wonder Woman, focus on building around her. Is going to get you pretty darn far up until the point where you get to chapter 50, according to the top players. They're saying the game really changes in chapter 50. I'm nowhere near that. So and I think it's going to take a lot of people quite some time to get there. But then the enemies start hitting like a truck, and like the burn team is no longer effective. Superman is basically useless. That's when maybe John, the new Green Lantern John, might be more effective because damage reduction is going to be very important in the late game. And Cyborg, because he gives your teammates that invulnerability with his ult, could become very useful when the enemies are hitting as hard as they do chapter 50 and beyond. All right, so that's it, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Ninja, kick the like button. Leave a comment down below. What are the teams you're using? What help do you want with teams? Have I gone over everything? I know some people had asked about like a poison team. There's no point in doing that. That's it, guys. Thanks again. We'll see you in the next video.